Welcome to Making Stuff, the podcast about people who make something out of nothing. I'm your host, Eliza Tebow, a musician and journalist who spent years producing creative projects from scratch and paying attention to how things actually get made. On today's episode, we're sitting down with Laura Schulte, a Wilmington, Massachusetts-based maker of quilt coats, jewelry, and other wearable items. Welcome, Laura.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
It's our pleasure. So tell us a little bit how you got into wearable art.
Oh, where to begin? I've always been into art, and I went to school for studio art, and I've always loved to sew, but I've never been officially taught. I sort of inherited a bunch of sewing stuff as a kid from my grandmother when she passed away, and I sort of taught myself. So I've always been sewing. And then for specifically quilt coats, a couple of years ago, I saw an ad in like Facebook Marketplace for this beautiful quilt coat. It was yellow and green and red, and it was gorgeous. Not necessarily my colors, but it was gorgeous, and I wanted it, but it was like $200. And I was like, that is completely reasonable because that is a work of art. But I was like, I bet I can do it myself. So that's when I started making quilt coats, and I find comforters or quilts at my local Savers, and I bring them home. And what I like about that is there's very little worry because I spent $10 on this quilt. So if I mess it up, it's not a problem. So that's how I got into that specifically. And then I just started making a bunch, and it's only reasonable to keep so many for yourself. So I've been selling them as well.
Oh, okay, great. I was going to ask about that. So a little feature we do here on Making Stuff is called How Do You Make What You Make? So how do you make what you make? Let's talk about the quilt coats. Can you walk us through your process from start to finish?
I find a quilt at the Savers, and actually I can show you. I'm going to turn my camera.
Yes.
That's my pile of quilts over there that I can't point to the right thing there, that I need to make into stuff. So
okay.
I have some stuff, but I can't work on it until like I get oh my gosh, I can see it. Like that's going to be the one. There's a reason I call myself the manic maker, because I can't just like make myself do stuff. I have to like really be driven and really excited about something, and then I do it until I'm tired of it. So those are there because I was excited to buy them, but I haven't gotten excited to make them yet, but it'll happen. So I find the quilt or the comforter, wash it, and then I have a pattern that I got off, I think it's like a Simplicity pattern. I got a simple coat pattern on Amazon, and I basically do one size fits most. So I am an extra large. If it fits me, it'll fit most people smaller than me, just different oversized fits. And then I cut it out and I sew it, and I've sort of made the pattern work for me a little better than what it was to begin with, because working with thick comforters is a little different than I think that pattern was intended for. So yeah, then I just cut out all the pieces and sew it together. I don't know, do you want to see one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
So this is one of the first ones I made, and I didn't buy this one. On my free page in town, someone was giving away like all of their bedding from, I want to say the 70s. So comforter, I got like a bed coverlet thing, so like a thinner one. I got sheets. I have a lot to work with. I still have like a whole tub of it. So this was one of my first ones, and it's so ridiculous.
Love it.
But I love it.
Okay, for people who are just listening and not watching this, it has bright yellow, bright green, bright pink, like Easter egg kind of colors.
I would call it Easter.
And yeah, little flowers and stripes, and definitely looks very 70s.
And I've actually seen this for sale other places. I think it's a Sears set. So I've had people tell me like, oh, I had that bedding as a kid. And I was like, oh, funny. It used to be bedding.
Yeah.
So it's just ridiculous, but I love it. So yeah, this is what one of them looks like. I did learn you put the pockets on last, things I learned along the way. One thing.
Okay, what I want to know, I'm gonna stop you there. What happens if you don't put the pockets on last?
You might have to sew this part and see how this one, it would cut right across the pocket. So I have.
Yeah, like the opening of the jacket.
Yeah, I've had to finagle some things. I think this one I hand sewed it. Yep. Because I'd already sewn the pockets on. That was back in the beginning. I've learned so much now.
You've learned so much. Do you do secret inside pockets?
Sometimes I do secret inside pockets, or like there was one I did. Where is it? I don't even know where it is because it's not hanging where I would think it was. Where it was going to be too much to put the pockets on the front with the quilt pattern itself. So I did pockets inside to hide them. Every quilt is different, every coat.
So they're all made with the same pattern?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay. And did you say what kind of sewing machine you use?
I have a white. So I have two sewing machines. Yeah, white. I have my aunt's old sewing machine, which is like a beast. It's awesome. But also, I'm afraid, I think I need to get it. I need to oil it. So I've been using my other one, which is like, I got it back in like 2010 when I worked at Joann's and I had a discount. So my other one's a more recent.
Oh, you worked at Joann's.
Oh, I worked at Joann's.
Did you learn? What did you learn? Let's just go off topic for a second. I just want to hear about the experience of working at Joann's. What do people not know about what goes on at Joann's?
Oh, I don't even know. I think I worked at 7 a.m. on Saturday shift. So I was just always tired because I also had, two other jobs. So it was just one of my 3 jobs at the time. But I did it for the discount,
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, what do people buy the most of at Joann's? Like, what do you find yourself ringing up a lot?
Oh, I mean, they have so many holiday decorations. I feel like it was a lot of that. And then, I mean, they go on discount right after for like 80% off. So a lot of that. And then just fabric, I think. A lot of fabric. Yeah.
Okay. So you get the quilt from Savers, and then you just stock up on thread, I guess, at Joann's. Or wait, does Joann's still exist?
No, it doesn't.
No.
It is a sad time. Yeah, Joann's closed
sad time.
last, I think it was March, and I definitely did one last hoorah.
Okay.
Bought some thread.
Were you invited to like the Joann's Memorial? There should have been some sort of.
I held my own.
Well, that could still happen if you're listening.
I celebrated Joann's privately, at home.
Okay. Yeah, I get it. Yeah. Okay. So you get, where do you get your thread and needles and
So
that just sort of?
I haven't had to buy anything since Joann closed. I have a lot of stuff.
Okay.
I actually in our current house I have a room that's supposed to be my studio workspace, but I never work in there, so it's basically just a storage room. But I have a lot of thread, and I've inherited thread, so I don't have to shop for any of that yet.
Okay. And so you said it just takes about $10 for the materials, and then you've been able to sell some of these?
I have.
Okay. And so how does that work? Do you do like weekend markets and that type of thing? Or is it just word of mouth, people reaching out to you and you kind of figuring out a price that seems fair?
Yeah. So I've done some farmers markets, which people are always really interested in the coats, but I think for a farmers market, I sell them for like $125. And I feel like at a farmer's market, that's a price point that's higher than people want to pay. I haven't done a craft. Mm-hmm. No, I did one craft market. And again, I think it was more than people were expecting to pay at that particular craft fair. So yeah, people will try them on and people will take pictures and be like, ooh, I like this. But I haven't sold any there yet. Mostly I've sold them word of mouth through friends. So one of my goals, and I said this back in 2022 and it's still true, is I want to sell my stuff. I want to get my stuff out to people who don't know me. And I mean, that's a lofty goal, but I'm really grateful for my friends who have bought coats, but I don't want my friends to feel like they have to buy my coats. I'd love to get out to people who don't know me. So we'll see. But I do have a friend from high school that I haven't seen since high school, and she saw one of my posts and she reached out and bought 2 actually. So it's still part of my network, but someone I haven't seen in a while. So maybe it's happening. I don't know.
I think that's an important topic, i.e. marketing the product that you make. What are some of your ideas for getting word
I'm
out?
Terrible. I feel like I'm an artist more than a salesperson, so I'm actually really terrible about selling my things. Being on this podcast is like a little terrifying for me, but also I know it's a very important step.
It is.
What if someone doesn't like me?
This will do it alone. You'll get millions of orders like as soon as this airs.
I have currently 232 followers on Instagram, so I'm pretty big.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I don't know what my goals are. I would like to. I need to have more on hand if I'm going to do a market where I sell primarily coats. And I have like maybe 5 on hand right now. So I don't know. I'm open to feedback about how people think I could sell. I feel like if just like one celebrity would buy one, I'd be set for a while. Like remember when Bernie wore those mittens to Biden's inauguration and that woman like, whew. So maybe I could get Bernie to wear a coat.
Yeah. 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 You could think about sending samples to people who might actually wear them. I mean, it would be better if you could almost send like a mini sample or a picture or like some really cool business card with pictures of it or something. Because, you know, if you send a coat and then you don't hear
Someone's
back,
assistant
that's
is
one
wearing
less
it.
coat. You're like, yeah, I think about your network and reach out to your connections and your connections of the people you know who, or your friends and family, who do they know who might have a big audience, whether they're celebrity or not. You know, there's lots of folks who have lots of followers on Instagram and LinkedIn, even, and TikTok and all that. So I was going to ask you, kind of mentioned this before, that you called yourself the Manic Maker. So your Instagram handle is actually Manic Maker Laura. And your bio reads, I am a mother, a maker, a lover of creating outfits. I get excited about an idea and I go with it until I lose my excitement. So, so like if one of your goals is to get more product out there and potentially then be making more product, because those two things would go together, what are the methods you use or would want to use to keep your passion ignited rather than succumb to, you know, the malaise of just kind of looking at this pile of quilts and I'm not feeling inspired?
That is a great question. I think for one, I think maybe I need to stop waiting for the quilts to come to me, and maybe I need to go and maybe spend more than $10 on a nice quilt that gets me excited. So I've been thinking about that lately. I think I've also talked to people. In the past, I've done things where like I've done pet portraits and I've done stuff like that, and then as soon as someone gives me like commissions one, I'm like, oh, I don't know if I want to do that. But if I come up with the pet portrait myself, and then I'm like, oh hey, I made this for your dog, I get more excited when it's my idea. However, I think it would be fun to work with people who have quilts or something like that they want to make into a coat. Because how many of us have quilts that we've gotten handed down from family, and you can only use so many quilts in your house, or you're not allowed to use certain quilts in your house because, you know, you might ruin them. But if you could change it into something that you can use like once a week, every day, you know, something like a quilt coat, I'd love to work with people if they want to do stuff like that. I think that'd be fun. And I think word of mouth.
That's a really great idea. So you're saying you'd continue finding quilts at Savers and whatnot, but also commission quilt coats from quilts that people give you that might be special in their family and have some kind of significance. Yeah, that's a really cool idea. And I wonder too if there are local quilt makers that you have already networked with.
I haven't.
Like maybe you could.
Well, the one thing I'll say about quilt makers is their work is a lot harder than my work. They're making the work of art, and I'm like collaging it into something else. So I don't know if a quilt maker would feel like, I don't know if they'd want me to cut it up. I don't know.
Well, I'm thinking more of a collab. Yeah. So like maybe the two of you conceptualize a project from the start. So maybe the quilt maker is picking out the fabric and doing like some of the first round of stitching, and then you're turning into a coat. But they know from the start the project that they're working on at that moment is going to be turned into a coat rather than destroyed.
Like on that note, maybe I could start quilting these pieces.
There you go. Even that, yeah. There's so many directions this could go.
The level of collaboration, but I have wanted to learn how to quilt. It's one of those things that requires precision, and I am generally not a precise person with my mimic creations.
I hear you.
But yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. lot of different opportunities.
Definitely.
I think, for sure. Talk about your most challenging project to date.
Well, there was one comforter coat that it was a very old comforter, and the batting was very thick and heavy and dense. And I don't know how many needles I broke, and I ended up hand sewing most of it. It was beautiful, and I ended up selling that one to an influencer on Instagram. That was actually sold to a stranger.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
and that one was exciting because it was someone I didn't know. I gave her a discount because I felt bad because that one was such a learning process, and I tried to be very clear since she wasn't going to see it before she got it. I had to mail it to Texas. But that one was a challenge, and it also taught me to be more thoughtful about the comforters that I'm buying for this process, because if it's going to be that hard, it's not worth it. But that one was because it was a learning experience. But I think that was the most challenging one I made.
I didn't realize this extended to comforters.
Oh yeah, because I don't always
yeah.
find like this one was a comforter. I have another one here that
Okay.
was a quilt, but this one I just got lucky. It's rare to find. Like this one, that's the back of. This is my favorite one that I wear all the time. But again, that's like an
okay.
LL Bean quilt, so it's rare to find an
Yeah.
actual discarded awesome quilt at Savers. I think I need to start actually looking for quilts that are maybe being sold for a little more than what Savers is selling them for. But yeah, I've done comforters. I've done a sleeping bag, like an old 70s sleeping bag, which I left it upstairs. I
Okay.
should have brought it, but that's one of my favorites that I kept. And I kept a little bit of the zipper detail. The zipper was broken. That's why it was there.
Okay.
But
That would be a great one to share on social. And if with any of these, if you have like the before and the after.
thing I'm terrible at is taking before pictures. I'll be like halfway cut through and I'll be like, oh well. Like,
I just forget about before and after. Just do in
Yeah.
the middle, and just like have a whole series of in the middle pictures, and you don't know where it started, you don't know where it's going to
Yeah.
end, and it can be just kind of existential.
well, I have one.
Go ahead.
I have one post in Instagram where
No.
I transformed a dress that I got at a thrift store, and it was a long sleeve floral dress, and I drew on the sleeves after I'd cut off the sleeves. I was like, oh, I didn't take a picture, so I took a picture of the dress without the sleeves, and I drew them on, and I was like, imagine it with sleeves. That's what it looked like before, and now. So
Okay. Good thing you have an art degree, so you could handle the drawing
it's not
part.
technical.
Yeah. I've been meaning to ask, were you at all inspired by Molly Ringwald in Pretty in Pink, who, tears up these various prom dresses and makes her own?
I just think this is an excellent reference from you because I remember when we lived in DC and you had a John Hughes themed party at one point. And I was Molly Ringwald.
Sure I did.
But
Oh, obviously.
I think like many people in watching Pretty in Pink, were we all a little bit traumatized by the dress that she presented at the end? Like all of the beautiful dresses that she cut up. So I think if anything, I don't know if I'm inspired by her, but she is my cautionary tale. Like, don't ruin something really nice and turn it into something like that. I love Molly Ringwald. I love that movie, but that dress, I still have not recovered from that dress.
Yeah. I mean, I think her shoulders look nice. I like what's the line? What is this cut? Like, is that bias cut or the cut where you go, from
It was
like
a halter.
it was like this. Halter. Okay. I don't remember what bias is. It's a halter cut. Yeah. So that part, like the top
Sure, like the top
looked
4
okay,
inches.
but the rest of it was kind of like a
no
sag.
shape,
Yeah.
no shape whatsoever. And the dress from what was her friend's name? Her prom dress.
Oh, Annie Potts is the
Annie Potts'
actress.
character.
Yeah.
That was a beautiful dress. She could have just worn that, but
It was, I don't know why but I think maybe it was, there was a lot that went into that dress. They were playing one of my favorite songs whenever I'm working on a project, Thieves Like Us, by New Order. And she just had this climactic scene with her dad, where she's yelling, like, she's never coming back. Why can't you accept it? And called him out on not going to work. And, it was this big moment. So I think there was some catharsis in ripping up the dress. Why she couldn't have made a prettier dress, I don't know. My only follow-up to that is, Blaine or Ducky.
I feel like it's an unpopular opinion, but I was always Team Blaine. I mean,
Come
I
on.
said it was unpopular.
He had no personality. He was a jerk. He
He
ghosted
did
her
ghost her,
before
but I think
ghosting
he
was the
learned his
thing.
lesson. Also, this isn't like love forever. This is high school love. So
Okay.
maybe,
Okay.
maybe
Did you know?
when they're like
Yeah.
25, she and Ducky will re-meet. And
Yeah.
I don't know. He was just never my
Yeah.
cup of tea. Ducky.
He was too desperate, but he was a better, a more, by far a more interesting
By far.
person.
And he was a
And
great dresser.
he was a great dresser, and he could really move and lip sync to Otis Redding. And he, as you probably know, the two of them are together in the original version of the film. And apparently, I mean, I read this, I don't remember what the source is. The audiences panned it so much that they re-filmed the end. And Andrew McCarthy had already cut his hair for some other role, and so they had to put a wig on him to make him. Yeah,
I will have to
rewatch
rewatch
it,
that
and you'll
part.
see it's a terrible
I
wig.
knew that they had changed
Yeah.
the ending. But
Yeah.
Ducky finds
Yeah.
that one girl and she's like, "Oh, I like this guy." It all worked out.
Yeah. Yeah, the girl who is in Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Not the TV one, but the movie one, yeah.
Is that
And I had one more thought about that. I think, yeah, Blaine kind of learned a lesson, and I guess he shows it by going to the prom alone, which Ducky points out. But really, it's like, was he going to contact Andy if she didn't walk into the room at that point?
it was
We
a
don't
bold
know.
move, him thinking that she would go still. I mean, he took
Yeah.
a chance, but
Right.
she's a strong woman, so of course she went.
She is strong enough to make her own clothes, which is a great segue to my next question. Okay, so you recently started documenting what you wear most days, or like in the last couple of years. I saw on Instagram you shared a post about this, and you said that it boosted your confidence. So I was going to ask, like, if you subscribe to the outside-in approach to confidence. I mean, just kind of zooming out to the larger power of clothing. Do you feel in your life that the clothes you put on help you feel differently inside?
I think 100% yes. I think what I've noticed in the past, it's been about a year that I've been documenting my outfits, and I used to just only take a picture when I really felt like I was confident and happy, and that outfit was who I am. And so that would be like once every 2 weeks. And now I find myself doing it pretty much every day, because every day I'm like, this is me, and I want to remember this outfit so I can do it again, but maybe alter it next time. And another thing is, I used to, if I was unsure about an outfit, I would picture some of my friends wearing the outfit. And if it looked weird on them in my head, I was like, oh, maybe this outfit isn't right. But now I realize if I can't picture my friends wearing it, it's just because that's not them. Like, this is me, and this is what I wear. And I do like to wear things that are just a little bit outside of the norm, like that other people wouldn't wear, because that's what I would wear. That's how I am.
Where can people find you online? We said Manic Maker Laura on Instagram. Is that the best place?
Yeah.
Or do you have a website?
I have Facebook, but I don't use my Manic Maker Facebook as much. For one thing, I like my dad not seeing my stuff and making silly comments.
Like, keep deleting or hiding dad's comments.
I love my dad, but
I kind of want to know what one of those comments are, though. Like,
he has no filter.
What does he say?
And I love him, but he is from a different time. I mean, I'll be talking to them on FaceTime, and they'll just be like, "Are you in your pajamas?" And I'm like, "No, I'm literally wearing day clothes." But even if I was wearing pajamas, it's daytime, so they're not pajamas if I'm wearing them during the day. I feel like I'm trying to teach them about my style ever since, like, I was 12. But yeah, I do a lot more on Instagram. What else? Oh, 3 years ago, I did buy the domain. I think that's the right word. So manicmakerlaura.com is mine.
okay.
And I don't have a website yet.
Okay.
So, but I keep paying for it every year so that nobody will take it. So, that's coming.
So, yeah. Yeah. So maybe this is the year that you make it.
I don't know what to put on it. But.
Yeah. I'm sure you'll come up with something. Okay. Final question. What would you do if you weren't making stuff?
I'd be making something else. I don't know. If I wasn't making stuff, I mean, currently when I'm not making stuff, I'm being a stay-at-home parent and taking care of kids. I mean, I love to travel. I love to eat food. I would probably maybe do that stuff or learn how to do something that I don't know how to do, another craft. It all comes back to making stuff, I feel like.
Yeah. I asked the same question of someone yesterday and he answered it very similarly. He'd be like, I'd be making other stuff. Like I'd still make it. Like I can't not make stuff. I'm like, yeah.
Like if I had more time and access to other things, like maybe I'd do pottery. I don't know.
Right. Make other things. I like it. That's it for this episode of Making Stuff. If you found this conversation inspiring, you can find more episodes and resources at makingstuffpodcast.com. There you can also buy us a coffee so we can keep the episodes coming. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time.